All right, let's crack into it. I know our fans are probably ready for us to get going. United Motorsports moment of the week. Not a surprise because we know how badass of a rider he is. And that has to be Chase Sexton's win in the 450 main event. Looked great all day for the most part. That was his 17th 450 career win as Supercross win. So great job, Chase. Just one small mistake as far as when the racing started. He laid it down in the heat race, but gathered it up in the main event and made it happen when it counts the most. I voice, again, like every week, I voice my opinion and my analysis on the broadcast from your standpoint and what you watched on TV, your overall feel and what you saw on Chase this weekend, RV.
Man, I thought Chase rode well. Like you said, mistake in the heat race.
Yep.
But the heat race, he was able to recover. But no, the main event he looked like he was on. He was hitting his marks. Track was tough. I know, what was it, around Wednesday, Thursday-ish, they got a little bit of moisture that came down, which
Yeah.
obviously we could definitely see that throughout the day, race day live. You could see that the ruts and how the track was developing. And into the night show, made the track very technical. But man, the way Chase rode, it looked
Yeah.
like he was on point. Got a good start. No real mistakes from him. Like in the main event that I could really, maybe a couple little ones here or there, but good to see him up there because I think that's I think I heard on the broadcast it's been since 2022 that Kawasaki hasn't had a win. So long, pretty long stint there for the race team guys. And I'm just sure that everybody is stoked to finally get that monkey off Chase's back on the new team. We're only 3 rounds in. So, it's good for the confidence builder for Chase and to see where this can come, close the points up quite a bit. That's a big, for a second there, we talked about it last week on the show. Like, I think he was already in the teens out
Yeah.
of the lead, right?
Yeah,
So
he was 18 points back, and he made a 5-point swing this weekend. That was
which,
big.
which is huge, right? We're watching the replay, the ones that are watching Chase going down in the heat race, just a silly mistake,
Yeah.
coming out of the sand. But yeah, closed up on the points. That's huge. I know it only seems like 5. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it definitely puts him in a different position already, with that win on Saturday night.
Yeah, 100%. I think I had a question for you as far as like the bike. And I mean, listen, we all know that the reason I think it's not surprising for RV and I is because we talk about all the time he's the fastest guy in the class. It's the other stuff that he needs to clean up, whether it's on the mental side, whether it's no mistake sides, things like that. If he clears all that up, the guy's probably winning every single weekend. But that's the thing about SMX World Championship and being a Supercross champ as well, is you have to be the most well-rounded. You have to have all those tangibles. So no surprise again for me on my behalf. He looked awesome. Again, the question that I wanted to ask you, RV, when you watch him and you watch that motorcycle, are there things that you like that you don't like? Are there areas that you think the bike could work a little bit better, or is it perfect? Where are you at with the bike and how it looks from the eye test?
I think from the eye test, he looks comfortable on it. The bike looks stable. I think that's going to even get better. The more track conditions they get on in race scenarios, like we've talked about it before, you can test all you want during the off season in different conditions, but when you put the motorcycle in a race scenario, race conditions, you expose things that you may not ever expose during the week. And like I had said, Anaheim 2 there with a little bit of the moisture that we had, the track was technical, was tough, was rough, ruddy. But overall, if I have to pick a side here, out of the last 3 brands that Chase has rode, I feel like the Kawasaki fits his style, or he rides the Kawasaki better than the Red Bull KTM or even the factory Honda. Still working out some bugs with it. It's early. So I'm anticipating that the more seat time he gets on it, the more race experience he gets on it, that he should be able to clean up those little mistakes that we have seen in the early part of the season.
Ah, good. Yeah, I would agree. You know, Stu kind of said the same thing. He felt like this Cowie was good for him. When you talk about, and I'm trying to educate myself here, selfishly from you. When you say that you think that Chase looks the best out of the last three of the three manufacturers, Honda, KTM, and Cowie, that he's ridden for, like, what is it about the bike that you feel is better for him? Like, why is it this bike?
What I initially see with the Kawasaki is just the stability of it. The way Chase rides the bike, pretty neutral, right in the middle. He tends to load certain parts of the bike a lot, and just using a Honda, for example, he definitely lost. We talked about it a lot, losing the front end on that motorcycle. But the Kawasaki, looks more stable when he puts that much pressure up onto the front as he comes into the turns. Then we can look at the Red Bull KTM. I think that had its pros and cons also. But you could look and say, okay, maybe it was a little bit of the team, it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that with the motorcycle. But just overall, looking at the Cowie, for me, it looks like it's more stable for Chase when he wants to push it and go the speed that he wants to go. And I think, looking and watching the broadcast, and maybe you can help me with this, but watching Eli ride Anaheim 2, and it could have been more that, the track had to be ridden more precisely. And Eli is more of a hammerhead. He hits things really hard.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.